To be kind to others is to be kind to yourself. Wang Yangming led troops to fight, and wherever he went, he would look at and think about problems from the standpoint of the local people. When Wang Yangming makes any decision, he will proceed from his conscience. He believes that all things in heaven and earth are one, and the hardship of the people is equivalent to their own suffering. At this time, he not only took local measures to help people escape from suffering, but also wrote to the court to help solve the difficulties. Money, status and fame are all under the cloak of luxury, attracting batch after batch of pursuers. Some of them are in pursuit of success, which we call rich and successful people, and those who fail are what we often call civilians and poor people. However, these are only external. Even if they are rich, they will leave you one day. Therefore, owning wealth and honor is not only a halo, but also a responsibility. At this time, it is not only the individual that is concerned, but the long-term feasible way to benefit society. As Wang Yangming said, "A gentleman respects and appreciates virtuous people, while villains only care about their own pleasure and covet their own interests." The essence of greed is instability. It is like a poisonous weed growing in the depths of people's hearts, constantly eroding the original pure mind. Sometimes it is dormant, sometimes it expands, and people can only be controlled if they can't get rid of it. The so-called human heart is not enough for a snake to swallow an elephant, and being too greedy and unrestrained can only lead to the punishment of life. Whether rich or poor, as long as you can help others, you should not be stingy with your own kindness. Two wood choppers from the same village met to cut wood on the hill west of the village. The two wood choppers were old and young, and they were both good at chopping wood. But in contrast, because of the difference in age and experience, the older wood chopper still shows greater ability than the young one. The two men came to the mountain, and took out a firewood chopper to cut firewood. The mountain was not high and the trees were luxuriant. At first, the progress of the two men was about the same. After more than 2 hours, the weather gradually became hot, and the young firewood chopper lay on the ground for a rest, while the older one still chopped wood, and moved from this side of the mountain to the other side of the mountain. We are about to finish chopping wood more than an hour ahead of schedule. At this time, the young man woke up from his dream, and saw that it was getting dark, and he had not finished cutting today's 2 bundles of firewood. So he hurriedly got up and broke the branches and weeds with his hands instead of a firewood chopper. But today, somehow, it was darker than ever, until the sun went down and the young wood choppers did not finish cutting the firewood they needed today. At this time, the old man called him down the mountain, and when the old wood chopper saw his lonely bundle of wood, he knew that the young man had not cut wood well. He silently took his bundle of firewood and said to the young man, "This will be enough for you for a day. We'll cut it again the day after tomorrow." Young and Strong said, "These firewood are used to sell money. You gave me is not a lot of less income." The elder said, "If you earn less today, you can earn more tomorrow, but cooking by fire cannot be affected for a moment. I have enough firewood for me, and you won't be hungry. Isn't that the best of both worlds?" The older wood chopper actually tells the truth that many of us understand, but it is difficult to do. Do you enjoy the beauty here alone, or do you spread it to everyone? And it is better to have fun alone than to have fun together. In fact, no matter how ordinary people are, as long as they have a heart of love, they can do good deeds that move everyone. On the other hand, those who only care about their own enjoyment are mostly because they have too many desires in their hearts and cannot be satisfied, so they will feel bitter when they have trouble. Desire is infinite, greed is like a sharp blade, cannot be left behind, cannot set foot on the shore of the sea of suffering. If you want to go ashore, you must get rid of greed, mention a heart of love, and regard dedication as a kind of happiness. In his reply to the students' letters in his later years, Wang Yangming wrote, "Choose the good and follow it," is to emphasize the need for good deeds. Be kind to others and give to others is dedication. The dedication is not only material wealth, but also spirit and ideas. This is the first sharp weapon to resist greed, a concrete manifestation of a person full of love, but also a performance of wisdom and responsibility. Happiness can be experienced by helping others, so to be kind to others is to be kind to yourself. During the Zhengde period, King Zhu Lai Hao rebelled, and Wang Yangming, then governor of Gannan, had neither the military power nor the imperial decree to counterinsurgency, and the rebels he overthrew Zhu Mei'ao were neither a responsibility nor an obligation to him. But he resolutely took up the important task of counterinsurgency, not for anything else, but to serve the country and save the people, and to save tens of thousands of innocent people from the ravages of the Smoke War. It is precisely because of Wang Yangming's love and devotion to the people that he won the support of many people in just 10 days when his righteous flag was held high. After the counter-insurgency, Wang Yangming, who had both wisdom and courage, was naturally loved by the common people. If we offer kindness to others and benefit society, others and society will certainly repay us with kindness. This is like the cycle of cause and effect. What kind of cause we planted, what kind of fruit we will reap. In his dialogue with Zhou Mugong, Mencius quoted Zhengxi's words, which are all the concept of karma. During the spring and autumn period, Jin Mugong had a royal ranch in Kaishan, raising all kinds of famous horses. One day several horses ran away, and the pasture officer in charge of the pasture was frightened, for once he was known by the king, he would be beheaded. The shepherd officer looked around and found some suspected horse bones in the village near the foot of the mountain, thinking that the horse must have been eaten by these farmers. The shepherd officer was so angry that he sentenced all 300 farmers in the village to death and handed them over to Mugong. The pastoral officer was afraid of Jin Mugong's anger, so he led the farmers to report to Mu that the farmers had eaten the famous horses in the royal ranch. So they were sentenced to death. However, the Duke of Mu finally exempted 300 farmers from the death penalty. A few years later, Jin Mugong was at war with Jin Huigong, and the soldiers were surrounded by the enemy, and were about to be wiped out. My life is at stake. At this time, the corner of the enemy began to crumble, and a group of soldiers on horseback rushed in, and the troops close to Jin Mugong helped to fight. These people were so brave that they saw the Jin army retreating one after another, and finally had to withdraw completely, and Mugong was out of danger. After arriving at the safe place, Mugong gave these, the famous horse, and the farmer who was pardoned for the death penalty. The brave soldiers expressed their gratitude and asked where they were from. They replied, "We are the good deeds of Jin Mu, who used to eat the king." and finally got a good return. Cause and effect is also this truth, a thought of good to save others, and save themselves. Life is like this. Every step a person takes in his long life has laid the groundwork for tomorrow. Everything we do is like a seed we remove. Under the moisture of time, those seeds slowly take root, sprout, blossom, and finally bear their own fruit. The causes we have planted will produce a result when we meet the right conditions. In this world, cause and effect is determined. People are not persistent, selfish, possessive, do not do what they want. And what they get is often inconsistent with what they think, but they are all made by themselves. Whatever seeds we plant, we naturally bear fruit. Good results from good, evil from evil.